Good morning, friends. Welcome to another episode of Olivia's Corner. I'm Olivia. I am a creative. I do writing, storytelling, DMing for D&D. I'm in school for writing for film and television, so I can write movies and TV shows and other such things someday. If any and all of that sounds like fun, make sure you are subscribed so that you get notifications when I put out new content. Welcome to the club. Today we are covering a topic that's a little uncomfortable but really fun. Recently, my party of D&D group went on a little bit of a break so that we could play someone else's mini campaign and so that I could work on building up or walking into for D&D. So, one of the things that I'm using my break to do is I asked my players to give me feedback on my campaign. They delivered. So we're going to break some of that down. I would love to use this time to reflect on some of that a little bit and talk to you about why I asked for feedback, why I think it's important to stay connected to how your group is doing, and what kinds of things I can do to implement that feedback and still have fun. Let's get started. Number 1, why did I ask for feedback? I have a couple of reasons. I was intentional about asking because I want everyone to have fun, partially because of imposter syndrome that tells me, Olivia, if they're not loudly enjoying it every time we play, they're obviously not enjoying it at all. I also used to be a part of an organization that did not ask for or utilize the feedback of its members, and that hurt a lot of people. It became really important to me to do better in the areas that I can tell you other people have failed in. Just sort of my way of trying to make the world continue to move forward in a productive and healthy way. So it was important to me that I ask everyone in my party for feedback, even the people that I was convinced were going to tell me that I was doing terrible. None of them did. That reflects more on me and my feelings towards my DMing than it ever does on my party. So that's kind of why I asked for some feedback. Feedback I was afraid of. Your game's too predictable. You're ignoring A, B, and C aspects of said game that are important. I hate your game. And you spend too much time on A, B, and C. One of the important things about asking for feedback is being a person who is willing to receive feedback. So I just want to clarify that all of that feedback would have been welcome feedback. If people wanted to tell me that I was spending too much time on these things, even if it's something that I love, I want to take everyone's enjoyment of the game into consideration, and I would take a step back. There are some things that even through positive feedback I was gathering from what my party was talking about that are constructive and helpful. None of them did say any of those things that I was afraid of them saying, but I want to make it clear that part of being open to feedback is being open to feedback that hurts. Editor Olivia here. When I say it's important to be open to feedback, I mean when you ask for it. I don't mean every stranger on the internet that has an opinion, you take it seriously. Like, that is not feedback, that's trolling. And it's unsolicited at that point. I just mean if you are asking people for feedback, or if you want to be an organization whose members feel comfortable in your community, you have to be open to asking for and receiving feedback of people who are around you and involved. That's all. Cool. Feedback I did receive. My players love my game. That both silenced and that silenced my some of my insecurities, and also just made me like, no, but really, they do? What? I'm glad they said it, so I don't feel cocky saying that my people love my games. You know, feedback I did receive is that I hold back on combat. I know that I'm afraid of killing my players, so I often give them combat that I think is challenging, but that I know won't kill them. And I think that they are looking for me to be a little more uncertain of whether or not it'll kill them. That does not mean throwing a level 23 dragon at them when they're little baby level 7s. 7? I think they're level 7. It does mean adding more of a threat to my challenges. That's good feedback. I needed to know that. Part of the problem is that makes testing their abilities more difficult. One of them requested that I slow down when giving them lore. That is a huge gift to a dungeon master. Yes, I would love to slow down and tell you all of the lore. Please ask questions. I love when you have questions. I think the reason that I speed up and kind of skim through some of the lore comes from my own insecurity that I'm talking too much. I told this person that, and he said, dude, you're the DM. Talking too much is kind of your job. It comes from my fear of taking the spotlight, which I also hold back from a lot of roleplay in games that I play in because I'm afraid of taking the spotlight, which probably comes from years of talks about humility and how to be humble and that humble people don't take the spotlight. But it's like, it's partially my game too. Like, I am an active player in those games that I'm playing in. Like, they told me to give them downtime. I have known for a while that I need to give my party some downtime. I built an unfortunate level of urgency or added aspect of urgency into this game, and we'll get there. I was planning to give them more downtime, but then there are more things that are pressing. We'll get there. Still valuable feedback. Thank you. I'm appreciative of knowing that this is the thing that people want. One of my players told me that he wants more opportunities for problem solving, solving puzzles, and like negotiations rather than killing monsters. That monsters are good, but that most creatures have more intelligence than your average dragon, and that my players want an opportunity to use their negotiation skills. One of the other pieces that was interesting of the feedback that I got was one of my players said that it would be beneficial for the party to have opportunities for individuals with specific skill sets to shine. So one of the examples is we've got a bard, and my bard has never had a chance to play in a tavern or an opportunity where someone recognizes him and asks him to perform a legendary song that he wrote or something to that degree. So I really appreciate that he was willing to say, hey, I'd love a chance for my bard to get to play. They're still kind of in urgent times, so there really hasn't been an opportunity, and they really don't stay in taverns very often. They camp along the road a lot. So it was good for me to know that they need more opportunities to stand still and do things in cities, like playing in a tavern. So. Another one of my players is a rogue who likes to go sit up on rooftops. It occurs to me that I don't really build in specific things that he might see overlooking the cities, but that's a big part of his character, so not to give him a spoiler alert that there might be things to see next time he goes up onto a rooftop, but like that's a thing that that's part of his character, that's part of his personality, that's what he enjoys doing as a rogue, and I would like to reward people playing up to their character. Like one of the other guys said that he plays a dwarf. That's a very small creature. He would like to have opportunities where, you know, I imagine almost Bilbo in the Hobbit movies where he can use his size to his advantage. That's what he's kind of looking for, is opportunities to use his size to his advantage. So that's the feedback I received. If you are a dungeon master, I recommend asking for feedback and giving your players individually. I messaged these people each individually, so they had individual time not reflected by the group to contribute some sort of feedback for me. If you are a DM of game, I recommend doing something like this. I'm probably going to ask this at intervals after each time that they level up, maybe, like, what's something that you wish would have gone differently? What's something that you wanted to do and didn't have a chance to? Is there any of your abilities that you wish the game provided more opportunities to use? I would hate to get to the end of my D&D campaign and have them say, my player never got to do, or my character never got to do A, B, and C that I wanted to do. I want them to tell me sooner than later. One of them told me the feedback that they provided was that they'd love for me to be able to anticipate some of those things. And while I would love to do that, like I have kind of done with the character that wants to go up onto the rooftops, that's not always realistic. Like, I think that we have, let me be clear, it was good feedback and it was good for me to know that that was his expectation for the game. What I will say is that everybody has different expectations of what that might look like, and I am simultaneously a person that I think is fairly insightful and can read some of these things, and I was just talking to a friend about villains always having a backstory that motivates why they're a villain, or people who are hungry for power, sometimes that comes from a childhood of not having any power. And she pointed out that there's another set of that where there is just privilege. And privilege means I believe that I deserve this, so I will go after it and take it. That didn't occur to me. I hadn't thought about, like, not starting from the bottom, but starting from high up and assuming that you get to keep what you have. Maybe that's a privilege thing. Maybe I'm not aware of my privilege. It was a unique perspective that I really enjoy and anticipate wanting to bring in to stories. Maybe I didn't think about it because I value the underdog. It might just be my writing style. All that to say, feedback is productive, and I'm looking forward to creating opportunities to apply the feedback that I received and adapt my game accordingly. Thank you so much for showing up and tuning in. I might have talked your ear off a little bit. I hope that what I said was productive and helpful for you. If you have questions, concerns, suggestions, ways that I can build in some of these aspects that I'm talking about, I would love to hear them. Please go ahead and leave comments down below so I can get progress moving forward. I appreciate you being here, showing up, tuning in, engaging in all of this, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Okay, bye. That doesn't mean...